Hi, welcome along to AFTV. We're back here for another video. We've got Dr. André in the building once again from Oxford Natural. Don't forget, they're brilliant. You tell us. I always start telling them about it, and the optimum person to tell them about it is you. So do you tell them about it?
Yeah, sure. We're looking to start the new year and looking to get better metabolic control for better mood, appetite, sleep. This is a great way to take something on a daily basis, morning and night time, designed by our longevity scientists to really optimize you. So better control of fat, sugar, protein build, good sleep, good mood, all phytonutrients, all crazy healthy. A very simple, straightforward way to start the year and get, as the months go by, metabolically balanced, lose weight, have more energy, and help with all your health and fitness goals this year.
Yeah, well, I'm testament to it. I've been taking it for a long while, and it has been brilliant for me. That's the good news, right? Because every time we get you on, right, that's the good news part. Yeah. But there's always a bad news part, because unfortunately, when I get in contact with you sometimes, is to discuss injuries, which we've had a lot of here at Arsenal this season. And now we have another one. Gabriel Jesus getting injured in the game against Manchester United. He went down immediately, didn't look good. The physios and the medical staff came onto the pitch and immediately called for a stretcher to take him off. So that wasn't a good sign. And then the next day, the noises coming out of Arsenal weren't good. And then it was confirmed that he has indeed torn his ACL. Now, Dr. André, for a lot of people out there who don't know what an ACL is, can you tell us what an ACL is? Because we hear a lot about it in football nowadays. And why is it so bad when you tear your ACL? What makes this such a bad injury? Yeah,
it's a real heartbreaker for the season. It seems like I've arrived at the worst time, or the perfect time to help you on this show, Robbie, because there have been some big injuries, and this is, it is a biggie, and we know ourselves that it's always a season gone, a year out, and there are very, very good reasons for why that is. Okay, what is it? I mean, I was lucky to have a knee here with me, okay? So visually, just so you can visualize what it is, the front of the knee, you probably imagine you know what it looks like. A kneecap is the tendon of your quadricep, your patella tendon. The front of it you're kind of familiar with. Around the back of it, you can see the menisci here, and these crisscross elements here are the cruciate ligaments. So ACL, A means anterior, which means the front one. Cruciate means it makes a cross, the posterior and the anterior make a cross, and L is ligament. So it is the main stabilizer of the knee when you bend. These two bones of your knee, they need to stay close to each other the whole time, and this little sort of stretchy bit of elastic between them is the ligament, and it means there's always controlled flexion. And the issue is that when you bend, it's fine, but when you bend the knee and there's a sudden twisting, it's taking the ligament beyond its ability to stretch, and eventually it'll ping. Why do you have to operate on it at all? Because you lose stability. Years ago, before we could do the surgery, you would just have to get by with rehabbing it and relying on your muscle strength to get by. And that would work. You don't have to operate on them. But the problem is, without the stability, there's a grind that takes place, and the knee will wear down and become highly arthritic within a couple of years. So it was never a good idea. So this is why we enter the realms. Go back 30 years, Robbie, when you first watched football, you never heard of a surgery for this thing. You really never heard of the injury. It was just simply rehab it and you'd be back sooner for sure, but all you'd wear out. So now what they do is they have to replace the ligament. Well, what do you replace it with? What can you find on the body that can be as usable as the ligament you were born with? And the answer is you can take a piece of tendon from some other part of the leg and put that in the place of where the ligament was. And you take it from the hamstring tendon. There's a bit there you can use that you don't necessarily need. Also from the front, the quadricep too. So you can take a piece of tendon, which is a stretchy item, and put it where the ligament was, nail it either side, and then over time, the stretchy tendon, which is not particularly useful as a ligament, will scar change and become like a ligament. And that process takes time. You can't fast forward it. It always takes about 9 months for the tendon to turn into a ligament. So there's a surgery, as you know, and they do the surgery as quick as possible to obviously get things moving and to reduce the chance of the knee wearing early. So surgery, and then there's a recovery from the surgery, and the knee's going to be stiff and tight and has this new thing in it, this brand new item in there, which is not very stretchy, and that has to be stretched out over time. So the rehab is slow, as gradually over time you stretch the ligaments, stretch it till it can be used properly again. So it's always that crestfallen feeling as a fan. Player goes down, ACL tear, see you next season, about the anniversary of the injury. And that's why it's always such a heartbreaker.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, bad enough for the fans, right? I mean, obviously, a vital key player like that who's going to be missing now for, like you said, a minimum of 9 months. But what's it like for the player? Yeah. I mean, a lot of times we forget about that, but psychologically, what's it like for him? Physically, what's it like for him, that rehab period? It must be very tough.
Again, the mental anguish that you go through as a player when you're injured is really substantial. It's like you love this thing, like you love your show, okay? Or people love going to watch the match. And imagine you're going to watch the match, you walk down the steps, you sprain your knee, you're not allowed back in the ground, not allowed to watch football for 9 months. Imagine that's, as a fan, the impact. When you've always been a player, an athlete, and the joy, the rush, the circus of the Premiership, and that's all gone, and you're stuck now in a separate room where there's less camaraderie, less excitement, just the, if you like, just the boring rehab. Because let's face it, it's tedious. There's nothing fun about sitting on a bench and moving your leg up and down. It's not the same as scoring a goal in the 91st minute and then doing a slide to celebrate. It's completely different. It's a separate place to where the other players are. So when you arrive in the morning in your flash car, all very nice, you go one way, they go the other. Okay, and it's designed to be separate, almost like a subtle punishment for being injured. Is you're over there and not sort of infecting the players with your injury, bad luck on the other side. So yes, and knowing that you're not going to kick a ball in anger for over 6-9 months is not easy when that's what you've been doing your whole life.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really, really tough for him. And, you know, is it a guarantee after 9 months that you come back stronger when you have an injury like this? Or can it take longer? Or can it affect you throughout your career?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally the return from this surgery is generally very good. Okay, it's one of the most researched injuries in the world. There's more research on cruciate ligament injuries than almost anything else in medicine, remarkably. More than cancer, more than pneumonia, there's more studies on these because there's money in it. Okay, so these are normally done privately. So all the surgeons all over the world get paid for this as a private procedure, and they all want to be the best in the area, best in the town, best in the village, best in the county. So they do tons of research onto it to advertise themselves. So for that reason, it is massively studied. There's a huge, they've really got it down to the finest of arts. So really the only complication comes from things you can't predict, like wound infection or whatever. But generally, I think you can be confident that they're back on the field in 9 months, barring the absolute unexpected.
All right. Well, 9 months. This is another one. Like I was chatting to you the other day about the Saka one. For that one, you said 4 to 6 months. This one's 9 months. These are long-term injuries that are not great for us.
I don't do it on purpose. I don't do it on purpose, Robin.
I know you don't. I'm getting the feeling I really don't want to be speaking to you again between now and the end of the season at least, because every time I speak to you, as I said, on the one aspect, it's the good news with the Optimum Day and Night, and I'm losing weight, and I'm saying, Doctor, thank you very much. This stuff's great. Yeah. But then on the other hand, somebody's gone down injured and they're out for ages. But listen, it's part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah,
this is part of the game.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, every player wears out in the end. And they all have a particular tale to tell in terms of the injuries that they go through. He's been through this injury before. I think, from my limited research, he's had a cruciate issue on the other leg, and he came back, and that one's fine. That one is doing what it should do and no issues. So we clearly see players can come back and they're as good as ever in terms of knee function. So on that scale, get him back and he can do what he did before. We see that all the time. It doesn't mean he could be a different player when he returns.
Yeah. Well, listen, Dr. André, thank you very much for, informing us what this injury is. Really, really appreciate it.
I just, well, one last thing, Robbie, is one thing also is that we obviously focus on male players a great deal, but there's a big issue in terms of female players.
Yeah.
It's seeing a huge rise in anterior cruciate ligament injuries.
Disproportionate.
It's massive, massive. And so, and just for anyone who knows a lady playing football or a girl playing football or whatever, it's a concern that it's going to happen like a ticking time bomb. And there probably are some certain reasons for that, why women are being affected so seriously. And just to do with the difference in anatomy, in women, it's shorter, the ligaments, and it runs through a narrower groove. Women tend to have a stronger quadricep than hamstring, which creates a bit of imbalance and more shearing in a plane that you don't really want. Women have hormone changes that guys don't in terms of time of menstruation. You wind up being a bit more lax in the ligament, which means it's got too much give sometimes. And even the way that women land, when they jump and land, is different to the way that the guys do and imposes a bit more stress on it. So lots of subtle factors there why women are getting more of these injuries, and the research is out there. But we should always consider this as a big thing in the women's game as well.
Yeah. I remember we had Beth Mead. She went down with the ACL, and also Vivian Miedemar, two of our top players as well in the women's game for Arsenal at the time. So you're right. It is it's nothing that you can do about it either, because as you said, you're running on it every day. So, let's hope nobody else goes down with this between now and the end of the season at the very least. Sure. Well, Dr. André, thank you once again. I really, really appreciate you coming on and giving us the knowledge regarding this. And once again, tell them where they can get your products.
Yeah, sure. They can go to the website. So Oxford Natural is the site, and they can get the Optimum range there. And it's just a subscription model. Sign up for it and see some brilliant changes gradually in the next few months.
Okay. Thank you very much. The link's in the description, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.